Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be making another Italian classic. Today we are going to be making chicken Parmesan. So let's get into it. All right, so I have 2 chicken breasts here. All chicken parm is made with chicken breast. Now, you're going to slice each of these pieces in half. So 1 chicken breast will make 2 pieces of chicken parm. All right, now let's go ahead and get to the other ingredients. All right, so for this recipe, this is everything you're going to need to make chicken parm. You're going to need chicken, obviously. You're going to need spaghetti pasta, gluten-free, because you know this is a gluten-free channel. You're also going to need breadcrumbs. I have Italian breadcrumbs. If you don't like Italian, you can use plain breadcrumbs as well. You're going to need eggs to make your egg wash. You're going to need marinara sauce to put on top of your chicken and your noodles. You're going to need a flour to coat the chicken in. And then you're going to need an oil to fry in. I'm going with avocado oil as always. All right, so let's go in with the oil. And you want to try to fill this up to about halfway full. I do think this whole bottle is going to fill up halfway. So it is draining kind of slow. So we'll just skip ahead of this. All right, so unfortunately, the amount of oil I had wasn't enough to fill the pot up halfway, but that's completely fine. We got it to about a quarter of the way full. So the point of starting the oil now is so that you can get it up to temp. Now, as you can see, I am doing this on a stove. Typically, I would be doing this in a fryer, but obviously I don't have a fryer at my house. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to gauge temps. You know, typically you want to fry chicken parm at about 350. That's about industry standard. But obviously, like I said, we're on a stove and we can't read gauges, right? So what we're going to go ahead and do now is warm this up now, get it up to temp, just let it sit idle. And then we're going to go ahead and put these noodles in so they can get cooking. All right, so we're going to go in with the water. And I want to fill this up to about halfway. So that's going to be perfect. So now we have our water boiling. I'm about to go in and go in with the noodles. Spread those out evenly. Now we're just going to let that cook down. And one thing I always like to do as well when I do my noodles is I like to add a little bit of oil in the water to prevent sticking. All right, so as I always say in my videos, guys, make sure to turn your noodles. You never want to just let your noodles sit in the water. I like to use tongs to go through my noodles because the last thing you want is a block of pasta stuck together at the end of the cooking cycle. So you want to make sure that you always thread these noodles and put oil in them. That's the reason I put oil in it, to prevent it from sticking as much. But if you guys forget this step, your pasta will come out as a block. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is start out by making our egg wash, which is made with eggs, obviously. So I think I'm going to do just about 3. That should be enough. I'm only going to do 2 pieces of chicken parm. So this should be enough. Actually, I think let's do 4. Do 4 eggs. All right. Then we're going to get a fork. Mix it up. Make sure you want to whisk it really good. Yeah. I don't really need to get a whisk. Next video, we will have a whisk. All right. So you want to emulsify it really good. All right. And that's how you want it to look. I wanted to tell you guys another trick you can do as well to make the coating stick more is add a little bit of water. So we're going to add a little bit of water to the mixture. And what this does is this makes the batter a little looser and smoother. That way the breadcrumbs stick to the chicken better. All right, so now we are about to make the coatings and batter for the chicken parm. Now, one thing I want to note about Italian breadcrumbs or any other seasoning blends that you guys are using, you want to pay attention to the ingredients. Now, this one I'm using has rice flour, water, pepper, salt, garlic salt, yeast, oregano, basil, parsley, and cane sugar. Now, if you guys can see, it has salt and garlic salt already in it. Now you want to take note of this when you're using blends, because the last thing you want to do is season your meat or whatever you're cooking and then add a seasoning blend to it that already has salt. So what you want to avoid is adding salt to your meat or whatever you're seasoning and also adding the seasoning blend, because what's going to happen is that your food's going to end up salty because the blend you used already has salt in it, but you didn't know. So you always want to check to make sure if there's salt in the blend. All right, so we got all of our coatings laid out. We have our flour blend. Now I added sage, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder to this. We have our egg wash, and then we have our Italian breadcrumbs. Now let's go ahead and start slicing the chicken. All right, so we have our chicken breast. We're just gonna be using one for today. Like I told you guys, one breast makes 2 pieces of chicken parm. All right, so you guys are gonna lay it to the side. You're gonna put your hand flat up like this. All right, you wanna keep your fingers up. That way when you're cutting across, if it slips, you don't cut your fingers. All right, so you wanna put palm down, fingers up. All right, and it really doesn't matter what side you cut it on. I like to cut it on the back side like this, because this is typically the fatter side, but it's completely up to you. So I'm gonna put it down, hands up, and then I'm just gonna come across. And you wanna try to cut this down the middle as evenly as possible, all right? You're essentially butterflying the chicken just like that. Get it like that. And then you're gonna cut it right down the middle, like that. So that's 1 piece, that's 2 pieces. Now, you wanna get something like parchment paper, like this. You can use parchment paper, you can use plastic, you can use Ziploc bags, whatever you wanna use. And you're gonna use this to smash the chicken. So, put it in between like that. You wanna fold it down. You wanna get your hammer. So meat tenderizer hammer. You wanna make sure to use the flat side, not this side, okay? This is gonna mash the chicken. You wanna use the flat side, and you just wanna go across it. Now, you wanna give it some force, but you don't wanna go too hard on it, because if you go too hard on the breast, it's gonna smash the chicken. So you just wanna give it some firm taps and just go around the chicken. The downside to using parchment paper, I will say, is it is a little difficult to see the chicken. Typically, if you're using like a Ziploc bag or plastic, you can see the body of the chicken. So, unfortunately, I don't have any plastic today, so this is what we're using. And as you do this more and more, you'll get a feel of the chicken. So obviously I make chicken parm a lot. I work at an Italian restaurant, so I know the consistency that it needs. And you can just stop to take a look at it, make sure it's not over smashed. Yes, so that is perfect, just like that. You want it kind of paper thin, but not quite paper thin. And you also want to make sure that it's smashed evenly across the chicken. That way, when you cook it in the grease, it cooks evenly. If you have one side really thick and then the other side really thin, one side's going to cook way faster than the other, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead and do the other one. Check on it. All right. So we're almost there. All right. There we have it. Now let's put it in the coating. Get it nice and coated. The batter, just like that. Want to make sure that you coat every corner, every edge. This is going to help create the skin and help that flavor lock in, just like that. All right. I go in the egg wash. Same thing. Make sure it's covered really well, just like that. I'm gonna go in, boom, into the breadcrumbs. You want to spread these around really good. Make sure it's sticking really well. I think too, about to go on some more breadcrumbs for the next piece for sure. That looks amazing. Want to make sure that the crumbs are covering every crease, every edge. This is going to ensure that we get a nice, even skin once we fry it. Just like that. So you kind of want it to look just like that. That is beautiful. All right, final piece. Same process. Get it coated really well. Every corner, every edge. All right. Go into the egg wash. Boom. Just like that. As you do this more and more, this will become muscle memory. Boom. To the breadcrumbs. All right. And when I do it, I like to go ahead and start covering the other side while it's face down on one side. That way, when you turn it, you don't have much coverage to get. You get what I'm saying? So if you go ahead and cover it while it's facing down the other side, it's basically done by the time you come around again. Just like that. That's beautiful. All right, now let's go ahead and get these in the fryer. All right, so we got our oil nice and hot. Let's go ahead and go in with the chicken parm. Just like that. Perfect. All right. And you don't want to crowd the pan, so I'm going to do these one at a time since I don't have a fryer. Obviously, a fryer would be wider, so we're just going to go one at a time. And then, yeah. All right, so it's been in there for about 3-4 minutes now. So we're going to go ahead and take it out. See how it looks. And that is beautiful. All right. Let's go ahead and go on with the next one. And I did go ahead and turn the heat off just because the oil was a lot hotter than I thought it was. So I did go ahead and cut the heat. Like I said, if you guys are doing this on a stove, it is a bit tricky. It's easier to do it with a fryer, but obviously the average person does not have a deep fryer in their household. So it's going to be completely up to your, turn this back on. It's going to be completely up to your judgment. Shit. That's not good. All right, so this one is cooking a lot smoother. This one's been in for about 2-3 minutes now, so you just want to make sure you rotate it. Make sure it is cooking evenly. All right, so the dish is almost done now. We have everything almost plated. Now, I do not eat cheese, so I'm not going to put cheese on mine. I'm just going to put marinara sauce on mine. Now, if you like cheese, obviously you can put cheese on top of it. You can do Parmesan, you can do mozzarella. Really, you can do any cheese you want to do. It is completely preference. So let's go ahead and warm up the marinara. All right, now the marinara I'm using is by Mezzetta. Now, you guys know this is the brand that I typically use for my spaghetti sauce. I also use their marinara as well. Now, this blend is already very heavily seasoned. So I'm not going to add a whole bunch of seasoning to it. But I am going to do a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder. And I think I might add a little bit of sage as well. You guys know me and my sage, the goat of the game. Some sage, just a little bit. Yeah. And then we'll let that warm up. Go ahead and pour it on top. That is beautiful. A little bit on top, just like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Chicken Parmesan. Great Italian meal to make for your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Wishing you peace and prosperity. Take care.